If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel in another cutting tutorial. Today I'm happy to cut along with you the Penny in Wallet by ChrisW Designs. I am so honored that Chris is allowing me to do a tutorial on this pattern. It isn't something that she has released to YouTubers to do until most recently. So thank you so much, Chris, for allowing me to do this. I have had this in my pile of patterns to make for so long, and I'm so happy that I finally get to cut this with you guys today. So this is a pretty intense pattern. This will be the first one I've ever made. I've never cut it out. I've just kind of thumbed through the pattern. Don't be overwhelmed by the number of pages in this pattern. It's so incredibly detailed, and Chris walks you through every step of the way with her pattern, and I'm hoping I will be able to give you a good visual. Things to take into account before starting to cut this pattern. It has been written for mainly quilting cottons, so definitely know the sensitivities of your machine when you go to choose your fabrics. Now I'm on an industrial. I'm going to attempt to do my exterior in vinyls, fairly thick vinyls. So I am going to do some alterations by leaving out some interfacings or whatever. I'll explain the interfacings as we go. In the cutting videos, we don't cut interfacings together because they all vary from country to country, but I will explain the ones that I am going to be using that I can get here in Canada, and I believe you can get them in the US most of the time too. So yes, if you have a machine that does not like thicknesses, choose quilting cottons. Now my challenge on my industrial is going to be a lot of these lining pieces are not interfaced, and it's because there is so much to this wallet that any added thickness you don't want to be adding into it. My machine is meant for sewing medium to heavy interfacings. I could pull out my domestic machine to do these linings, and I may end up doing that if my machine starts eating these linings up. I do have a gauge on my machine that's like a hump jumper. I'm hoping if I lighten it up, it'll sew through the lighter fabrics nice and easy for me. So if you're on industrial like me, that'll be your challenge, is the lighter fabrics. And if you're on a domestic to a heavy duty, you may have challenges with thicknesses. So play with it. I'm going to be playing with it with this. We'll see how this goes. But I think I have it all figured out. So what will I be using in this bag? Again, I do not have a picture of this just yet because I've never made one before, and I'm making my first one right now. I do not have copyright privileges due to copyright. I can't use other people's pictures, including the pattern picture, as sometimes the pattern pictures are those that the designer has been given permission to use, but me as a YouTuber, I may not have. So I don't want to cross that whole copyright thing. So I do not have an example because I'm making this for my very first time. But I have included a link down in the description below to the pattern designer's website. Click on over there. There are so many pictures on the website from her testers and from other people that have made them that will definitely help you see what we're doing and hopefully spark some inspiration in you and get some ideas how you want to make your penny in. So what I'm going to be doing for my penny in, so there is an accent flap. I am going to use up some scraps. You know me, I love scrap busting, and wallets are usually pretty good for that. So my exterior of this wallet actually doesn't take up too much. It's the linings and the guts of it that take up a lot of fabric. So for my flap accent, I'm going to be using this obsidian vinyl from Galaxy Kustoms. This is, I don't remember what kind this is. Maybe it's mint green. I'm not sure. For my main body, I'm going to be using this obsidian pearl. Okay, this is not obsidian vinyl. This is pearl vinyl in green. This is obsidian black pearl vinyl. Again, Galaxy Kustoms. This is my favoriteest vinyl of all time. But this is very, very thick. And then I'm going to be using for my linings, I've used this in a couple bags now. I picked this up at Dress Sew. It is a quilting cotton that kind of has a nice shimmer in it. It's called Starlight Metallics by Maywood. I think that is just going to really complement these two fabrics very nicely. So that is what I have chosen to use in this. We will get into the nitty-gritty of the interfacings I will be using as we go through the pattern pieces. This is going to be a little bit more in depth. There's a lot to go through, but it's definitely going to be worth it. So let me get this all cleaned up, and then we'll start talking interfacings, and then we'll get to cutting this bag. All right, so what to talk about first. So things I will not be doing in this bag is there is an option that you could add a crossbody strap or a wristband to this. I am not doing those optional things. I want mine to be more like a clutch and not a purse or a crossbody. So I will not be cutting the wrist straps and the strap bands or the optional crossbody straps or anything like that. So if you decide you want to do that, definitely do follow along in the pattern for that. All right, next, let's talk interfacings. So for the card pocket A and card pocket B interfacings, it calls for being cut some Pellon 809. I'm going to be using an EB Fuse medium, which is a woven substitute similar to an 809. So that is what I will be using for those. Again, I won't be cutting interfacings with you guys, but I just want to be sure I go through everything that will need to be done interfacing wise. All right. So let's start easy with our clear vinyl. I forgot to show this in the beginning. So I'm using this clear vinyl that is from Blue Calla. You can see it's kind of got a little bit of a rainbow in it, and it has a, I don't know how I'm going to be able to tell. It has a kind of a paper backing that's for the front of it. So I'm going to actually try to keep that backing on there so I know which is the front and which is the back. I'm going to take my ID window template. I'm going to line it up and cut this out. In the pattern, she also has measurements that you could use. I'm using the pattern pieces mainly because I can't give out measurements or anything like that, but I can show the pattern pieces when I'm going to cut this out. So I don't have to do anything else with this, so I'm going to put this in my bin of things ready to go for sewing. Okay, what else? Oh, talking about interfacing, there are two pieces that get cut out of Decovil Heavy or Peltex for the main body. You'll have to follow along on page 9, and you'll see the body stabilizer and the base stabilizer, and you will cut pieces of either Peltex or Decovil Heavy to those measurements. Okay, so I do have my pattern here with my cutting chart, and I'm going to go ahead, and as I cut things out, I am going to check them off. So I already did my clear vinyl window, so I'm going to check that off. I've said in the past that I do like to check my things off with these air erasing sew line pens. The reason I use these is I can mark this up as much as I want, and then when I go to make another one, all of those marks will have disappeared with no effort of having to like erase them off or reprint it or apply heat to it. It just goes away. So it's the perfect marking pen for fabric and for on your pattern. So I am going to stick pretty closely to this list because there is a lot to go through for cutting. The next piece I'm going to cut out, I'm going to take my scrap piece out here, and I am going to do my flap top. So this is the top of the flap. It's nice and decorative. I'm hoping that this is going to be big enough. Yeah, it is. Okay, so she does mention, I don't think I need to worry about it so much with vinyls, but there is a grain line on here, and this grain line is meant to go with the selvage of the cotton, so your grain is going the correct way. So if you're using cottons, make sure you do follow that. I'm going to flip over to the wrong side, and as everybody knows, I like to draw my pattern pieces on the backs of my vinyl. So I'm going to trace this out. Oops, I'm going to bring it over a little bit more. Okay, do that again. And then I can flip it over, and right where I put those little, I drew little lines at that fold mark. I'm going to match it up and continue on tracing out this piece. Now this is the only piece I'm doing in this green fabric. As you can see, this is amazing for a scrap buster. I could probably get another one there if I wanted to make another one. I always try to use all of my vinyls and fabrics up to the best that I can because they are an investment. They are not cheap, and you want to get the most that you can out of them. So, flat top. And that's the only thing I'm cutting out of this green piece, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this out right away. Feel free to use scissors. You don't have to use a rotary cutter like me. Okay, so that's what that looks like. Now what I have here is our interfacing stabilizer template. Now she's calling for Decovil Heavy for this. I am actually, because I'm using such a thick vinyl, I'm actually going to use EB Fuse Heavy, which is equivalent to a Decovil Light, just because I think between the thickness of my vinyl and the Decovil Light or EB Fuse Heavy, it's going to give me the same kind of thickness as using Decovil Heavy. Again, this is meant for cottons and I'm using vinyl, so I'm trying to find a way that I can have the best of both worlds. So I will be cutting EB Fuse Heavy from Emmaline bags or Decovil Light, depending what's available in your area, and then you will be fusing it out of the seam allowances onto the back of your pieces like so. Okay, so that is it for that flat top. I'm also, see here, I'm going to have to cut a lining piece, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this into my bin of things to still be cut. Okay, so I still have to work with that piece, but we're putting that aside for now, and this little piece will go back into my scrap bin. Okay, next, what are we talking about? Okay, so this is for our, let me figure this out, maybe not. Body on the fold. It's my body lining, body exterior. Want to make sure I have my pieces right. Okay. So I have my exterior body piece here, as well as an interfacing piece. So this interfacing piece, I do not have to worry about. This is if you were doing it in cottons. This would be your medium woven interfacing, like your SF101 or your EB Fuse Light, and you would be fusing it outside of the seam allowance of this piece that we are going to be cutting. I am using vinyl, so I am opting to not interface it at all. So my exterior vinyl piece is going to be the pearl vinyl in obsidian black. And look at that. Oh, that makes me so happy for not having any scrap, because I have the exact same width here. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that out. This is my body exterior. There's my halfway lines. And hopefully, oh yeah, this was meant to be. Look at that. And you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and cut across there. So I am going to write, going to put an arrow there so I know that that is towards the top. So this is the direction that I want to go. Actually, look, she's thinking about me too. Same way, she has top written there, so I guess I could write top as well. So again, if you are using a cotton, you definitely would go ahead and you would cut your woven interfacing and make sure when you go to put it on, when you cut it on the fold, that it's outside of the seam allowances. So this one I don't need to do anything else with, so I can put it in my finished pile. What else, what else? And then we're into, oh no, we're not. Where is it? I need that black back. So my flat bottom piece, this is an accent piece as well. I am going to be cutting out of this gray vinyl as well. Now this is one similar to the top flap. It calls for Decovil Heavy. I'm going to be using EB Fuse Heavy, which is similar to a Decovil Light, once again because I'm using such a thick vinyl. So you would cut it out your piece. I'm going to draw her out. Flip over. Okay, cut that out. And this is once again where you would be fusing your interfacing piece outside of the seam allowances, like so. Okay, so I'm going to get this all cleaned up, and then we're going to get on all the nitty gritty. That's the exterior done. Now we just have to work on all the lining bits. All right, so I'm going to go and catch up my cutting list here. I've cut one body, I've cut one flap top, I've cut one flap bottom. All right, so working our way down. So yeah, I'm still working with exterior fabrics, but I'm going to do, okay, we're not doing the strap band. Oh, there's Ms. Coco. She opened the door. Oh, she says hi to everybody. We're not doing the strap L, and we're not doing the wristband. So I can cross those out. Now for my welts, which is kind of the side accordions and the tab closure, I am just going to use my lining fabrics for those. So let's pull those out. Oh, let's just start cutting our linings. Okay, what are we working with here? And I've been using this for other projects already. I just love, love, love this. Okay, let's see. So let's work our way down the list just because I don't want to get lost. So let's do our tab closure. So this is our tab closure piece. You need two exterior, and then to interface them both, it's calling for fleece for inside that. I'm going to be using almost like a metal snap there. I think I'm going to substitute out the fleece and use some EB Fuse. No, I'm going to use a piece of scrap Decovil Heavy in there just because I want something for that snap to grab into really well. So I'm going to substitute Decovil Heavy instead of this fleece part, just because I am using quilting cotton for this, and I just want to be able to have a little extra strength through that. So let's go ahead and cut out this piece. We're going to need two of them, so I'm actually going to cut them both at the same time. Actually, let's do it right here. I'm going to fold this up. Look at that. And I'm going to cut it right there. So I have it a double thickness, so I can cut both pieces at the same time. And just like so. So I will be backing both of these pieces with a medium woven interfacing, as well as on one of them I am going to put, I mean, you can use fleece as well, but I'm going to use some Decovil Heavy in there right outside of seam allowances on just one of them. So I'm going to put these into the to be interfaced bin. So I can cross that off of my list. I got my tab closure. And then next it's telling us we want to do our welts. Let me find that piece. Where are you? Oops. Everywhere. Okay, so we need to cut two of these welt pieces opposite from one another. Where do I want to cut one? So I'm going to cut, I have the wrong side of my fabric up right now. I'm going to cut one of them with my pattern piece facing up. So that's one. And then to make sure that they are mirrored to or reversed from one another, I still have my fabric wrong side up. So I've cut it one with my pattern piece right side up. I'm now going to cut my second one with my pattern piece right side down, and then that'll make them opposite from one another. Okay, so let's see if my thinking was correct. Get this out of the way. So when these are right side up, they should be opposite from one another, which they are. So the shorter little side is here and the longer side is here. Now this one I'm going to do a little different, and hopefully I won't regret it. To interface these, if you're worried about thicknesses, there is an interfacing piece here, and what it is, oh, do you know what? No, I'm going to follow it and hope my machine doesn't eat it up. We're going to cut your SF101 or your EB Fuse Light like I'll be using. Then these will be fused onto the back of these like so. So they will be opposite one another, and this little part here should line up perfectly. So that's how you would interface those pieces. Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing. This quilting cotton's a little bit thicker, so I'm hoping that I won't have an issue with using a light fabric. But that is my 2 exterior welts reversed. We also are going to need some, do you know what? I'm using the same material. We got to do that exact same thing again. I'm going to cut 2 more the same way. And actually, I think if I go like this and I fold this upon itself, it'll do the exact same thing for us, but I can cut 2 at the same time. So fold them wrong sides together, and let's see if we are right. Cutting things mirrored always throws me off. Yeah, it worked. Perfect. So again, you only have to interface 2 of these. You don't have to do all 4. So you will interface the 2 that would be on the outside. Did it work? Yeah, it did. Okay, so we have all 4 of those cut, and I just have to cut that interfacing. So I will put this into the to be interfaced bin. So that is our welts done, and that completes the exterior fabric section. Now we're on to the lining section. Card slots. So we want to find our card slot A piece. Now this is one where you had to join your pattern piece. Again, she does have measurements in the pattern if you want to. You didn't want to cut out all these pieces. Again, I can't share those measurements, so this was the best way for me to do it. I usually would do ruler cuts, but to show for the purpose of the cutting video and not give away her measurements, cutting the pattern pieces was my best bet. All right, so now what we want to do, how do I want to do this? Do you know what? I'm not going to do this one just yet. Let's go ahead and cut card pocket A backing, and it's only because I'm trying to use up some of this random fabric at the bottom here. So I am going to fold this up like so on the fold. I'm going to take this piece here. Oh, I don't have to put it on the fold. We need only 1 piece, not on the fold, and it's going to fit right here really well for our card pocket back. Again, make sure you mark your top if you are doing directional fabric. And the grain line, my grain line is following my selvage, so I know that we are good. This is one of the pieces that does not call for interfacing, it looks like. That's card pocket A backing. We don't have to do anything else with that, so we can put it in our done bin. Mark it off. Card pocket, what do I call that one? Card pocket A backing. Card pocket A backing. Check. Okay. Back to the card slots. Card pocket A. So we're doing this one on the fold. So I'm actually going to fold it this way on the fold. So there's my fold there. Is that going to be long enough? Just barely. Whew! Meant to be. Okay, again, I'm trying to use up as much of the fabric as I can. And I'm going to go ahead and cut that on the fold. See how we did here. Okay, this is a piece that doesn't have any interfacing marked on it, so this piece is done. And I did it again. See the grain line? I went this way with my selvage running up here, so I did it right without even purposely doing that. Put that away, and I always keep my pattern pieces with my piece so I know what goes where. So that is card pocket A done. Now we're on to the body lining. Okay, so body lining. Again, it's telling us that the grain line is going this way. So I want my grain line and my selvage to match, but I want to cut two of these at the same time to save some time. So I'm actually going to turn this around. So I have my selvage at the bottom here. So I know it's going to be going right with my grain line. I'm going to fold this up to double thickness. Make sure I have enough fabric there, and I do. And because I need two of these, I'm going to create a double fold so I can cut them both at the same time. So right along this fold, I'm going to fold it in half again. So that creates two folds that we are cutting along. It only shaves off a few seconds, but every little bit helps. We can cut those two at the same time. Again, this isn't calling for any interfacing. Curious to see how my machine does with that. I think it'll be fine. Okay, so if we've done that right, we should have 1 and 2, and because we don't have to interface those, we can put those aside into the already done bin. Cross it off. 2 body lining, check. Flap top. So that'll be over here. So for this piece, I am actually going to go ahead and I'm just going to use my vinyl piece as my template. I'm going to once again check my grain line because I'm using a cotton and I'm going the right way. And I'm just going to use this to cut it out. Okay, so that is done. So this can now go into the to be interfaced bin. So the lining does not call for any SF101. The only thing we're going to be interfacing is that exterior piece with our Decovil product. Okay, oops, that was the wrong bin. To be interfaced bin. So I'm done my flap top. I'm going to do the same with the flap bottom. Where did you go? I pulled you out and I put you somewhere. I've lost you. Please hold while I find my pattern. So we're going to do the same thing again. I'm just going to use my pattern piece. I'm going to double check that I'm going with a grain of fabric, which I am. And I'm going to use my pattern piece. Again, this lining piece does not get interfaced. Unless I'm wrong and I figure out through the pattern, but then I will correct it in the tutorial, but I believe it does not get interfaced. All right. But this will go into the to be interfaced pile because I do have to put that heavy stabilizer onto the exterior. So that is the flat bottom done. Cut 2 section A's. Let me find you. Section A's, section A's. Here we go. Okay, so once again, this is a cut on the fold. I'm cutting 2 of these. So I'm going to cut them just like I did with the main lining piece. Ooh, but I might be able to do it from here. Let's see. Maybe I'll cut them separately. Because, look at that. So I have my grain going with my selvage there, and I'm going to use some of this scrap up that I accidentally cut, or that I cut off before. So I'm not cutting 2 at the same time. I'm using up a piece that was going to end up being scrap, which is perfect. So that's 1, and then I have to go ahead and cut another. So again, making sure I'm going with the selvage. I will go ahead and cut another one. And these ones do not have interfacing. I'm so excited to see how this comes together. All right, so we've gone with the grain line. We were good. And we can put these in the finished bin. So really, this pattern doesn't call for very much interfacing at all. So that really cuts the cutting time down. That's really good. So section A, we've got 2. Zipper pocket A. Zipper pocket A. So we need 1 of these. Again, she's got our grain line marked there. So I'm going to make sure I'm following the grain line of my selvage. And I'm going to cut this out. This does not need interfacing as well. So let's just assume that these lining pieces do not need interfacing, and if I see one that does, I'll let you know. I know it seems odd. I'm so used to interfacing everything, but there has been times where I've over-interfaced wallets, and it's been a nightmare, trust me. It just ends up being too thick and bulky, and it doesn't end up looking professional. So, and this wallet has a lot to offer. Like, it's crazy. Not that I've made one before, but I've seen the pictures, and it's just, I'm excited for it. It's going to be a perfect little clutch. Okay, so zipper pocket A is done. We can put that in the finished pile. Cross it off, zipper pocket A. So I'm going right down the list. Card pockets B1 on the fold. Okay, so this is the one, cutting line for card pocket B1. So we want to fold on that dotted line, like so. And we need to do 1 piece of this. The fold is down here, and we're going to make sure we go with our selvage. So I'm going to fold it up like so. I need to go more. Like so. A little bit more because I got some cut area there. Okay. Not going all the way over here because I have a little slit there. Okay, and I'm going to cut right along there. I'm following my grain line. Okay, so that's my lining B1, cut on fold, and then we want to cut another one unfolded, so it's a little bit longer, and it's not going to fit there. I was hopeful. Okay, I was hoping I was going to be able to do another wallet with this piece of fabric, but it does not look like it's going to work in my favor. Okay, I think I'm going to have to do it from here. Hold it up. Doesn't fit. I need a little bit more. Again, following that grain line. There we go. All the way up. My watch is talking to me. Okay, so that's my B2 cut. Again, there's no indication that this needs interfacing. So we're going to keep these two together. See, these are more card pockets. This wallet has so many card pockets. So it's actually not going to be too bad because we're going to get our thickness when these are all folded. So my fabric's not going to get eaten up. Okay, so we can put these in the finished pile. Card pockets B1, B2 done. ID wallet. Okay, where's my scrap pieces? What am I looking at here? Let's work on this little end down here. We're going to cut one of these, make sure we're going with the grain again. Like so. Oops, there's a slit there. I'm going to cut right here. Like that, and this one is done as well. We're almost done. It's actually not too bad. Cut 2 zipper pocket B and 2 outers and 2 zipper pocket B linings. We're going to eat up this whole meter pretty much. I really thought I was going to have enough to do. We're doing this in the Tuesday, May 2023 classes, and I was wanting to use the same fabric for my other one, but I may have to I'm gonna have to change my options. Okay, so place on fold. I need 2 exterior and 2 lining, so I'm gonna cut these separate just because of, actually I can cut 2 at a time. I'm gonna fold it in half, hopefully. Is that gonna work for me? Yeah, it is. Okay, so I'm only gonna do 2 at a time. So I have my fold here. I'm going to create that double fold again. I'm very aware that I have some cuts on my fabric here that I don't want to be part of my piece. Lay this on the fold. I am actually going against my grain line now, but I'm starting to run out of fabric, so I'm just going to say that doesn't matter to me. I don't have very much stretch in this fabric, so I should be perfectly fine. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. Cut zipper pockets B using full pattern piece. Okay, so yeah, so this is for the outer ones. So that's 2 of them on the fold. Okay, and then for our zipper pocket B, or B linings, right along that little green line, we're going to fold this up, and then we're going to cut 2 more on the fold. So I think I'm going to cut them separate. So I'm folding this up. Now I'm going the right way with the grain line. It's all good. When you start running out of fabric, you do what you need to do. Okay, so here's one. We're almost done. But yeah, I didn't expect to use a full meter of this. I had a meter and a quarter, so that's okay. So that's 1 and 1 more. Same time, no waste is amazing. Okay. Okay, so we have our 2 exterior and 2 lining of our zipper pocket B's. And that is done. Zipper pocket B outer, 2 done, 2 done. And we have already done our welts. So we're done that. And all that's left is the interfacing, which we already talked about. Just double check. Yeah, that's it. So really, I thought that was going to be much more involved cutting wise, but it really wasn't that bad at all. So now all I have to do is do the minimal interfacing. Again, there's minimal interfacing in this. I've got to cut my main body pieces for the Decovil Heavy that I will be using. Those measurements are in the pattern, so make sure you go and cut to that. And yay, I'm excited to get working on this tutorial and sewing this up with you. So if you did like this cutting video, please do give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. If you want to support my channel further, again, you can buy me a coffee. That's linked down below in the description. I already mentioned that this is our April 2023 Tuesday class. If you're on the public side, by the time you see this, the class is already over because these videos are member exclusive until our classes are over. So, but not all hope is not lost. You may not be able to catch the classes live, but if you wanted to have a slowed down version, doing this like 8 hours real time, you can definitely join the membership to watch the replays of those classes as well. Best of all worlds. Anyways, until the tutorial, I'll see you guys later. Bye.